insights. This is not financial advice. In this video, we're going to be talking about CORZ Scientific, ticker symbol CORZ. Just giving an overlook of this company. This is the first of the Bitcoin miners that we're going to be talking about. Now, just a couple disclaimers before I start this video. While I was going through the research for this company, the outlook is not good. So I do apologize if you are invested in CORZ Scientific. This isn't going to be the best of videos for CORZ Scientific, but it will be as truthful and honest as I can present it to you. So with that being said, let's get into this video. We're going to be transitioning into the CORZ Scientific web page here, so we can just take a look at the company. Starting here at the very top, we see that they mined on the 29th, so yesterday, 47.8 Bitcoin. So that is a huge number. I just did the math for that. That accounts for, with the current price of Bitcoin, $816,000. So in one day, they mined $816,000. That is an incredibly good thing, and you just heard how I started this video off. So we're going to get into why I started the video off like that. But just moving along, they explain themselves: infrastructure to power the world's new financial system, a leader in high performance blockchain infrastructure and software solutions. All right, so let's just look at what they do. Let's start with the blockchain infrastructure here. Now, this is going to give an overview of some of their mining facilities. So their purpose-built development and operation infrastructure for blockchain computing. And we see that they are in Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, North Dakota, and Texas. So they are in a lot of places here in the United States where they do have regulatory standards or whatnot, but they are able to mine. So that's good from the what to do here. Let's move down to the digital asset mining. This is pretty self-explanatory. They mine cryptocurrencies, okay? And they do so for themselves. This is some of the hardware they use here. Some of the notables: Bitmain, Nvidia. And some of the coins they mined, the only one that they're not mining here that I know of for sure is Ethereum, because that has changed over to proof of stake. But I'm assuming that they mine these other ones, with Bitcoin being the main focus. And let's move down here to premium hosting. So the digital asset mining and the premium hosting, this is their bread and butter. This is how they make their money. So premium hosting, fully managed hosting solutions for digital asset mining, blockchain applications, and AI. So with this, they host miners for other companies, which we will get into. They have gotten bidden on this, unfortunately. And let's just get more into this company with this next slide here. Okay, so we're still talking about CORZ Scientific. So they went public through a SPAC merger, which is a special acquisition company, which is more or less a blank check company that doesn't have any scales of their own, but they purchase other companies so they can go public with them. I've talked about it before on this channel here, but they went through a merger with Power and Digital Infrastructure, which had the previous ticker symbol of XPDI, which is no longer, now they're CORZ, and that happened last year on July 20 of 2021. So just keep in mind, this company has only been public for a little over a year, okay? Keep that in mind. They are the largest publicly traded miner by computing power company in the world. So the miners that they have, they're running 243,000 machines in its facilities that account for 13 exahash of the Bitcoin that they mine and 9.5 exahash of the hosted machines that they give to other companies. And that accounts for 8.6% of the global hash rate for Bitcoin, which that is a phenomenal number. They are a leader within Bitcoin mining. They have month over month, they are the leader in Bitcoin mining. This has been the case the whole year of 2022. As you see down here in this graphics, I just have 3 months up. I got August, they mined 1,334 Bitcoin. September, they mined 1,213 Bitcoin. And in October, they mined 1,295 Bitcoin. So you see in 3 months, they mined well over 3,000 Bitcoin. So, I should show you two things: 47.8 Bitcoin mined in one day, And you see over the course of these months, they're mining thousands of Bitcoins. And let me just use it as a comparison. The next company down is only mining about 600 to 700 Bitcoin. So Core Scientific is far, far ahead of these other companies when it comes to, the pure mining of Bitcoin, either by themselves or through their hosting machines. Now, unfortunately, the buck kind of stops there in the terms of good news. As we see here on the chart, I'm showing the daily here, and this is taking us back a year to November 2021, when Bitcoin was at its all-time high of 69,000. We see that Core Scientific was also at its all-time high at around 14.75. Today, this stock is trading at about 13 cents. So it's fully a penny stock. It's dropped about 99.08%. So just a catastrophe as far as decrease. And, this is a case for most of these Bitcoin mining stocks that, they did take a dive because Bitcoin is taking a dive. As I explained in my previous video, these mining stocks pretty much track Bitcoin. So Bitcoin goes down, valuation of these companies, the assets that they hold will go down as well. So these are just a few points as to why the mining stock Core Scientific is down so much. We're going to get more into some of these aspects, but first, Core Scientific, the world's largest publicly listed miner by computing power, ended October with 32 million in cash and 62 Bitcoin, or 975,000, and reiterated they may run out of money before the end of the year. Pause. So you see, they only had 62 Bitcoin on their balance sheet at the end of October. And as we've seen, that they mined well over 3,000 Bitcoin in the last 3 months. Now, this may not be too concerning because, these are companies that are here for a profit. They're not hodlers, they're not retail investors. They have investors that they have obligations to, and they have to make them a profit. So for these companies to be selling Bitcoin, it's not a big deal, but it's just the amount of Bitcoin that this company has sold is staggering. To continue on, the company first warned of bankruptcy risk about a month ago, sending its shares plummeting about 80% on NASDAQ. The miner had 1,051 BTC and 29 million in cash at the end of September. So you did see in September they did hold more, but because of their financial obligations, which we're going to look at on their balance sheet, they've been forced to sell a bunch of Bitcoin. We anticipate that existing cash resources will be depleted by the end of 2022 or sooner, Core Scientific said in its third quarter earnings report. I mean, that's just horrible to think of. So, I mean, today is November 30th. So what is sooner than that? We only have 30 more days. So if they can't last 30 more days, this is a huge problem. Core Scientific is one of several miners struggling to keep afloat as rising energy prices increase costs and a stubbornly low Bitcoin price slashes revenue. So you see that, I mean, first of all, it's not just Core Scientific, is most of these mining companies, if not all of them, they're all suffering from rising energy prices across the board. Okay, the price of energy has gone up, and as we all see, the price of Bitcoin has went down. At the all-time high, it was at 69,000, and today is trading at about 17,000. So Bitcoin is taking a stumble as well. Core Scientific has been affected by the bankruptcy of lenders Celsius Mining arm, one of its biggest clients. Celsius Mining filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in July, and in September sued Core Scientific, claiming that it violated automatic stay terms. Core Scientific claims Celsius owes its $5.2 million as of September 30th. So this is a big hit on their hosting side. They were, in agreement with Celsius, but we have heard that Celsius is insolvent. Okay, they're going bankrupt. All parts of Celsius, their lending, as you see, their mining arm, their trading platform, it's all insolvent. Okay, and this is being one of the biggest clients of Core Scientific, this has a direct impact on them. And just to expand upon that even further, all these companies, unfortunately, Three Arrows Capital, Luna, FTX, Alameda Research, Core Scientific, Celsius, Voyager, they're all intertwined some way in the web just because of how small the space is. Okay, if you look at a spider's web, you see how everything is connected, probably not directly, but is connected in some sense. And that is the state of crypto and all these companies that are involved in crypto. They all had a little bit of piece of each other. So when one fails, it just created this contagion that just created this cascading effect for all these companies to fail. Two other companies sued CORZ in November. Spear 3D, ticker symbol NE, and McCarthy Building Companies. A class action lawsuit was filed in the same month in Texas courts alleging failure to disclose important information to investors. And just to expand upon that, when I was doing my own research here, when I just typed in CORZ Scientific into the Google search engine, the first two things that come up are, class action lawsuits that you could take a part of if you are invested in CORZ Scientific. So I found it to be very interesting. Both of these, I guess, articles of lawsuits were put out less than 24 hours ago. So this is something that is ongoing. Okay, so we're here at the CORZ Scientific balance sheet. So it's not good, guys. Let's just start with total current assets. Okay, so total current assets are defined as either cash or cash equivalents or assets that can be liquidated within a 12-month time frame. Okay, so with that, these super liquid assets that can be done within 12 months or cash and cash equivalents, that is a total of $213 million. That sounds like a big number until we scroll down and we see the total current liabilities here. The total current liabilities are $1.2 billion. What are total current liabilities? These are liabilities that they have to meet or pay out within the next 12 months. So this is an urgent situation. You see that they are underwater to the tune of $1 billion, just looking at these 2 points here. So we go scroll down and actually look what CORZ Scientific has to say. I mean, they kick it off in the worst way. After the basic presentation, this next part is entitled Going Concern. And you just get into all the debt that they have, all the obligations that they have, and they're unfortunately not even paying some of their debt. They have stated in here that there are some debt that they are not going to be able to pay. They're not going to be able to meet their financial obligations and liabilities. So this is this is horrible for them. This is big news. This is something you got to keep in mind. This company may be going belly up. I'm not going to go through all 141 pages here, but I do know in these 141 pages, the term bankruptcy was mentioned 35 times. So that is something to keep in mind. Obviously, they're telling you, you got to listen to them. Now, one aspect on these total current liabilities that I want to look at further is the one that's right above it. These notes payable in current portion. You see that this amount, this is about $1 billion. Okay, so this is the bulk of the total current liabilities that they have. Now, before we get into the bulk of those current total liabilities, I do also want to mention this is broken down, and we see some concerning things. We see that Genesis, which has been in the news, I just talked about it in my Theorem Classic video. I'll link it somewhere here. But they had a loan with Genesis, okay? And Genesis, we know, is, on the verge of going belly up. We see a BlockFi loan here. Again, just a few days ago, we just heard that BlockFi is on the verge of going belly up. They were in bed, unfortunately, with some companies that didn't do too good, and now they're suffering as well. And like I said, this is the spider's web. This is Charlotte's web. These are all these companies, that had a bond at some point in time, and because some of them are becoming insolvent and going bankrupt, it's having a contagion effect with other companies. Okay, and then we're scrolled down here to the convertible notes portion. I'm not going to get too much into this. This is a good read. Pretty much though, these convertible notes, they are issued before this company was a company. This is just like seed investment. This is just to inject some capital into the company so they can start using it for their operations. Some things to take away though, they issued about $545 million of these convertible notes in 2021 in a few different rounds. Now, with that being known, these convertible notes, they do accrue interest, and at the maturity date, at the date when they have to be paid back, It's not necessarily paid back with capital, it's paid back in equity. But this would have a significant impact on CORZ Scientific if these convertible notes were released all at the same time. Let's just say that, the people that own these convertible notes, they all wanted to exercise them and they want to take the shares. That would cause a massive dilutive process to CORZ Scientific, one that has never been seen before. I have no clue where it would go from here. It's at 13 cents right now. If we were to release, let's see here, $682 million of capital that was converted into equity and release those shares into CORZ Scientific, it would be catastrophic for the stock price. All right, so with all that dreary news, I just took a look at some of the options contracts for CORZ Scientific. They are on a deep discount, but you do have to be aware, extremely aware. So I have this, this 50-cent strike price here. I mean, it would take a lot for CORZ Scientific to get back up there, but you see that the ask price is $10. You might think that's a good discount. You might think, hey, I can load up on these shares, but this is caution. Keep cautious. This is actually worth $1. So if you were to buy this right now, you would immediately take a 90% loss. So there is something to keep aware of. If we look past the halving date, so the halving date again is June 24th of 2024. We're looking at options contract that expired January 17th, 2025. And we see that they have the same price, even at 50-cent one. So this will be more attractive. Unfortunately, you are going to lose some money on this one as well. This actual option contract, as of right now, is worth about $8. So you will be taking a 20% loss for each option contract that you purchase. But that is the video for you guys. So what do you guys think? Like I said, it's not the best of videos to be kicking off the series, but it is one that needs to be seen, okay? This stock is 13 cents. And I know as a retail investor, if you see my last video and you see this video, you might be looking at this and like, whoa, 13 cents? Let me just pick it up before the halving. It's going to get back up to $12 in no time. But you got to look into the company and seeing what's behind the hood. And unfortunately, underneath this hood, it's about empty. But that doesn't mean that they can't turn it around, and make a full recovery. Hopefully something can happen with restructuring the debt. I didn't get into that, but they are looking at other financial opportunities to raise some cash. They've hired a couple of financial and legal firms to try to help with this restructuring of the debt. So hopefully he can pull it together. That $1.2 billion hole looks very, very intimidating, but you never know what could happen in this time. So whatever your thoughts, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you guys again for watching the video. I'll catch you in the next one.